everyone, welcome to this week's lesson. Today we're going to start talking about how to create our own keyword outlines. So the first thing I'm going to do is read you the source text, and then we're going to begin creating a keyword outline. Now this source text is about Mother Teresa and the beginning of her ministry. So without further ado, let me start reading. On October 7, 1950, Mother Teresa received permission to start her own order, the Missionaries of Charity, whose primary task was to love and care for persons nobody was prepared to look after. In 1965, the society became an international religious family by decree of Pope Paul VI. Today, the order comprises active and contemplative branches of sisters and brothers in many countries. In 1963, both the contemplative branch of the sisters and the active branch of the brothers was founded. In 1979, the contemplative branch of the brothers was added, and in 1984, the priest branch was established. So, now that I've read this, I'm going to think about the paragraph that I want to write. Now, if I'm writing about the different branches and the different functions of her ministry, here's some of the information that I would grab. Now, when we're creating our own keyword outlines, what we're going to do is we're going to have this. This is number 1. It is our first detail that we're going to write about. Usually it's based off of the first sentence or something that kind of sums everything up. Then we're going to add details 1 through 5. Now, we don't want any more than 5 details, otherwise it starts getting a little overkill for one paragraph. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, going back over the first sentence. On October 7, 1950, Mother Teresa received permission to start her own order, the Missionaries of Charity. So, what I want is the year. I think that would be an important detail to have. So, 1950. Now, let's see. It's all about Mother Teresa. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to use MT. Reason is, it's an abbreviation, and I know exactly what it means. It stands for Mother Teresa. You're allowed to use abbreviations as well, just make sure that you remember what they mean. Now, when we're creating a keyword outline, numbers and abbreviations don't count towards our 3 words that we're supposed to use. So, I can add a little bit more. So, what did she establish? Missionaries of Charity. Now, I think all I need to write really is missionaries. We can get rid of the of charity. And I would say that works. That's enough to get me started. And it's enough to help me remember exactly what it is that I read. And that is the most important thing about a keyword outline. Now, for our next part, let's see, where did I start or end off here? Charity, so whose primary task was to love and care for those persons nobody was prepared to look after. So I think that's a really important detail because it tells us what this charity is about. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little heart, which stands for love. And they care. Now, persons nobody was prepared to look after is really long, so I'm not going to write that down. What I'm going to use instead is a word that kind of sums it up, which is unwanted. Because most of these people who are in that sort of situation would be unwanted. So I'm going to replace that phrase with something that makes sense to me. Alright, so the second part, let's see. In 1965, the society became an international religious family by decree of Pope Paul VI. So I think that's an important detail, and I'm going to write that down. So the year is 1965. Let's see. International religious family we can change into IRF. And of course, I have to remember what that means. So don't write it down unless you're going to remember exactly what it means. And the person who did it was Pope, I'll just abbreviate it to P, Paul VI. You can go ahead and put line so I remember it's a Roman numeral. Alrighty, so moving on. Today, the order comprises of active and contemplative branches of sisters and brothers in many countries. So let's see. I want to remember the 2 branches that they've got. So, we've got active, and both of these are capitalized, and contemplative. And then I'm going to write branches, so that way I remember what it is that I'm talking about. Now, another detail that I thought was important in that is that it's in many countries. It's not just in India where she started off at. So I'm going to write many countries right here. Now, after that, we have a lot of dates, when things were founded, when things got started, and while those are important, those are not details that I personally want to add into the paragraph that I'm going to be writing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take a look at the last detail here. In 1984, the priest branch was established. We haven't talked about this priest branch before, so I want to make sure I write it down. So let's go ahead and do that. 1984 priest branch. Now from this keyword outline I've created, I can recreate the sentences on my own without ever needing to look at the source text again. So, let's go ahead and do that. In 1950, Mother Teresa created the Missionaries of Charity. Their job was to love and care for the unwanted. In 1965, the Missionaries of Charity became an international religious family, thanks to Pope Paul VI. This organization has two branches, the active and contemplative branch. It has been established in many countries, and in 1984, they added a priest branch. It's as simple as that. That's all I need. And I've just created my own paragraph that sounds nothing like this. It carries the same ideas, but it's in my own words, completely my own. So, that is all I've got for you today. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you in class. Have a wonderful week.